Hey everybody, the Reeswerrel here, and welcome back to more of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Fingers crossed, this is the final session. What I'm hoping. Either way, let's go. Okay, my audio's fine. I didn't know if I turned it down or not. Good morning. Oh, you by yourself? Morning, Pearls. Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya? God, really bad at reading. I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple. Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall? No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court. Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit it's kinda strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Godot! Oh, never mind. Edgeworth! What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Oh, so I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godot? Godot. Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She's been out there all night, trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly as we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godot intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. Mostly because there is. No tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. I know. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden frantic maniac you were yesterday. It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold on to someone else. Literally. And with that, I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Hey, thanks. I mean, technically they are partners in this case. I mean, Edgeworth handled the first half. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise... no, I mean Misty Faye. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. Isn't it obvious? To make Pearl the next master. It's quite obvious. At least I think it is. We'll solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Okay. Hey, look who it is. Ah! Awesome. The regular judge is back. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris at Hazakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother. He looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Oh my god, we're back to this. It's impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Godot. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There is only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bit of darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. I had a feeling you was going to bring that back to coffee. So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant? He's like, what are you planning? Iris. Why didn't you discuss this with me first? Yeah, it's a bit weird. Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession. Oh god. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple. Witness, is there something that you want to confess to? Yes. But first I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore. It's alright, what is it? Mr. Wright, I have to admit that Oh, I did play a part in this terrible incident. Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise? Whatever her name is. No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up. After the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise. And carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it. What? Ah. Oh dear. Order in the court. Order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder? Yes, that's correct. Oh no. 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Huh. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite? Grr, that Godot. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Oh no! Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone? No, I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle, or a life jacket. I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Karine tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family. I'm sorry, but main family? Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Karine channeling technique. Mystic Maya Fey. Huh? I'm confused too. So wake up and smell the coffee, Trite. She's naming... Maya? Are they trying to get Maya pinned for this again? Well, like, when I say again, I mean because she's been in so many crimes where she's been pegged as the murderer. There was case 2 of the first game, case 2 of the second game, and then this one. Oh dear. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer. I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. Then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her. That's ridiculous. Maya could never do such a... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime? Yes, Your Honor. I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The real murderer. Pardon me. I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense, you can't blame her for it. So they're trying to say that Maya killed Mystic Elise. So it was in self-defense. Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya. You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Is that right? Or isn't that right? Not bad. You got the instincts of of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night, and that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. Alright. Well, we're back to normal, where it's Phoenix versus Godot. Hold it! Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that, on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple. Did she now? Too bad for you, what she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go? Wait. It was in the inner temple's training hall? A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. What do you have to say, witness? I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? I don't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder. There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden? Well, Your Honor, I love how they have it so it leads into the next statement. It's pretty good. Wait, so you're saying that the victim attacked Maya, I mean Miss Faye? Yes. It was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse. What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting? I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak, I was in such shock. That's perfectly understandable, my dear. Oh my god. This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute. What happened after that? While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Ow. So she moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon. Okay. Wait a minute. What was this weapon? It was some kind of dagger. A dagger, huh? And Mystic Elise tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye? Yes, exactly. Huh. Okay, why would she do that when she had a staff that was a weapon? Yeah, like, it makes no sense. You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Do you have a problem with the testimony you're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris' testimony? There is one thing. Why did she have two weapons? Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless. That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony. Yes, sir. Hey, wait just a moment. It's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. What is the judge supposed... What's he here for, then? Okay, now. Let's continue. So, she threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe. I object to that wholeheartedly. Why would she do that when she had this? Has a sword hidden inside. No one knows this except Detective Gumshoe and I. Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events. Huh? Miss Elise throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me. But all you can do with a staff is hit someone. Oh, no, my dear. Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but... the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. Ah. If Mystic Elise really had wanted to kill Maya Faye, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? Of course he has a smile on his face. That was an impressive investigating trait. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective at close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Oh well. Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor, the defense will now present evidence to back its argument. But Mr. Wright, I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Ah, there we go. Real name Misty Fey, Maya's mother. It's like, yes, this is the victim, yes. So Miss Elise would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise, whatever the hell that is. Her real name was Misty Fey. Fey? Ah, no. Not Mystic Misty Fey. Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to? Misty Fey is the master of the Quran channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey. Are you serious? Is it really true? Mr. Wright, was Miss Elise actually the great Misty? God, seeing Mystic and Misty next to each other just throws me off. There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea. I can hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Oh, nice. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented... Oh, right, itchy ear. Ugh. Okay, so 1, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight. And 2, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter. Despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. Except for one little thing. Yes, what is this one little impossible thing? Huh, you still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted? But you have no idea, Gramps. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be a bloodstain. Oh. So where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Huh? The pine tree? This dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Huh. Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Wait, I thought it was his 8th. Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago? I didn't have enough time to get the blood analysed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. So bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Dagger added to the court record. Dagger disappeared from the court record. Now then, I need to readjust my mic. There we go. The testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. Cute girls never lie. Ever. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court. About what, Your Honour? About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women. Yes, Your Honour. So, the battle. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly Mystic Elise was... Oh! Really? Was the one on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. Ooh, censored. Well, I already know what I need to present to this. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed. That was a very heartbreaking story. I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore. That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. Oh, you got it. That's easy enough. I mean, this is probably one of the easiest ones to debunk. I don't need to press on anything either. She dodged, blah blah blah. Mystic Elise was on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. That's when she stabbed... Actually, yeah, on this picture. It's not possible. Where's the autopsy report? Here it is. Yeah, stab in the back. I wins. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Face stabbed the victim who had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yeah, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. Ah! This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. You bloody fool, what the hell do you think you're doing? Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. Ah! So, what is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Huh. It's simple. People are like bucks. We've all got a front and a back, you get my drift? Is that all you have to say? I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, and people fighting being mother and daughter, or the people fighting being mother and daughter. And now, she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? I hate how long his animation takes, but I love it all the same. There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. but to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself. The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. By the way, did you know? The Inner Temple has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is there training, the stone lantern in the garden is to always be lit. I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see more clearly? Or see the crime more clearly? Normally yes, Your Honour. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. Most enlightening. Oof. Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite? Order, order, order! Hey, Your Honour. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Okay. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honour? Was that flame too hot? This lantern. There's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood. Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood? It says Maya upside down. What the? Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body. That's how it was written upside down. Okay, that makes sense. It certainly looks that way. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. Can he not see red? Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. He can't see blood. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot? Okay then, let's move on. What? Godot is literally shaking, and somehow, I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Elise was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong. Now it's time to turn our attention to you. Yes, sir. After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Gulp. Let's hear it. We're all ears. So, Sister Iris's cover-up. After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Karine tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and... I used the Shichishito to alter the way the wound looked. Oh my god, that's still gross. Boy. So you moved the body. Yes. I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae Clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise, or Mystic Elise, was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor. I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. But you were spotted by the head nun, correct? Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back. Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. You got it, Judgy. Yes, Your Honor. Right, it's time to press everything. Woohoo! So, Sister Iris's cover-up. Wait, can I object? Hold it. Oh my god, the way it was, like, delayed. I can't believe it worked. So you waited until everything was over before making a move? No, it's not like that. God, Godot, screw you with your objections. She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid. Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument? It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I really want to just say hold it for all of these. Hold it. Nah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, whatever. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Shit. Oh, I get all kind of confused. So then, you knew? You knew the significance of the name Maya Fey? Yes. Of course I did. That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position. Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. Why did you do that? Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.